Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Miller here with PDS, and I just want to take just a couple minutes to be able to welcome all of you here this morning for our HP technology update. And I really am glad that you're all able to take time to join us here today. I know you get a lot of different invitations for different webinars these days, and I'm glad that you chose to spend this time with us here today. It certainly goes without saying that we are facing unique times today, and we're all trying to find our own path through this pandemic. And while that prevents us from being together in person like we normally do for these technology roadmaps, I am really happy that we can leverage technology to be here today in this virtual setting. But on behalf of everybody here at PDS, I just want to make sure and express our sincerest hope that all of you are safe with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and you're finding your way in this unique journey that we're all on here together. So today we come together with our key partner, HP. And I'm a huge advocate of HP, and I have been for my entire career. And I think we can all realize that even in a normal business climate, HP plays just a phenomenal role. But they even take on a more heightened role or a more essential role in the face of this pandemic. Most of us have shifted now to some level of work from home or teach from home or learn from home. And regardless of when we return to work, I think we're all accepting this reality of a blended worker being our new normal, right? Meaning that our end users are going to have some level of working from an office, some level of working from home, some level of somewhere in between. So this blended worker we're accepting as the new normal. And whether it's today or sometime down the road in this new normal, one thing is very, very clear. The dependency on delivering a robust and high-performing end-user devices, it's just never been more important. I mean, just think about it for a moment. This technology that we're using has now become our exclusive window to how we communicate, to how we collaborate, how we teach, learn, and work. And I know a lot of organizations, every organization is facing different challenges in the face of this pandemic, financially and otherwise. And I'm hearing about a lot of tough decisions that are being made on where to allocate budget these days. But I can tell you this is an area that people are doubling down on. And I think the reasons for this are somewhat obvious. Everybody's world has been rocked through this pandemic. We all carry the stress of working from home, the blending of work hours and personal hours together. And technology should not be a stress point, but rather a strength point. So to all of us here, we believe that this is the time to focus on delivering a most exceptional end user experience. This is the time to deliver technology that's best in class for performance and reliability. This is the time to invest in technology that has security features for today's blended worker. And this is the time to give you and your end users some peace of mind on all these fronts. So when you sum it all up, this is the time to look at HP. And to help us deliver a roadmap for HP today, we've enlisted a very, very talented list of speakers. And if you have questions along the way, what I'm going to ask you to do is refer to your Q&A button to be able to post some questions, and we'll make sure and address those hopefully through the time that we have here today, and worst case as a follow-up to our meeting. And most importantly, this is a pizza party. I don't know who else has pizza at 9 a.m., but I can roll with that. Pizza is good any time of the day. So you're all getting $30 towards a pizza here, so look in your email for this. If you're not seeing your email, check your spam folder, because if you don't find it there, you're going to be eating spam and not pizza. And let's be honest, nobody wants to do that. So again, if you don't see that, just reach out to one of us and we'll make sure you get your gift certificate for pizza. So with that, let me now hand things over to our primary partner at HP, my friend and a friend of many of you that are on this call, Lisa Messner, and she'll help welcome you and introduce today's speakers. Lisa?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We're thrilled to have you. Oh, I'm getting some feedback, Stephen. Oh, there we go. All right, so just a quick introduction. If you don't know me, you've probably seen me if you've ever come to the road shows before. I am a behind the scenes person that works primarily with partners, but I do occasionally do an end user function. So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm thrilled to be in front of you, so to speak, and can't wait for to introduce you to the next three presenters. I also wanted just to mention that these are 50,000 foot looks at new introductions. So we're going to talk about either something that's brand new or something that's coming, how that's going to, roll out, when you can expect these announcements to happen, or what you need to be prepared for moving forward. This isn't a once and done, so similar to the road shows that you may or may not have attended in the past, we plan to do another one of these in the winter time, probably in the January time, because we will have a lot more to talk about at that portion. But couldn't it be better timing? We had a number of announcements on Monday, so we're really excited to bring this new technology information to you today. I'd like to introduce the next three presenters, and Rick, if you could put up that slide to show them who they're going to hear from, that would be great. We are going to be listening to Rick Grinswick, who is our Director of Mobility Solutions and Security. So he's going to give you a little bit of a look at what you can expect to hear from in that category. We're also going to have Bob O'Shea. Bob's going to talk a little bit about our desktops and workstations and where we're going to go with that technology. And then we're going to close it out with Charles Thomas. Charles is going to talk about all the ancillary items. So the things that you need to know how to make, that will make your computers work a little bit better. Also talk about displays, talk about roadmaps with docking, because there's a lot of changes going on there, and just get you up to speed on everything you need to know to put the whole solution together. Again, don't hesitate to ask questions. We'll be answering them throughout the event and also after the event if it's something that we need to look into a little bit further. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Rick Grinswick. Rick, I think you're on mute.
Rick, you out there?
Yeah, I think I am on mute. Sorry about that. Hey guys, welcome. As John said, these are unprecedented times, and our goal is to really try to minimize the stress and anxiety of what's going on today. I was just thinking, John, as you said, everybody gets a $30 pizza thing. It feels like one of those timeshare meetings, where you go in and you really can't get the $30 gift certificate until you sit through the whole session. So hopefully this isn't as painful as that. But I thought that was an interesting analogy. So let's move forward with the presentation. I'm going to cover the mobility piece of this. And, there's a lot of things going on here in 2020, and I think you're going to find a lot of it interesting. But, to kind of set that stage, which John already did, we know the world has changed, and it's not just for end users in their daily lives, but also for businesses adjusting, how to stay afloat. I mean, how many of the small businesses have we seen shut down? And as the end of the summer approaches, we're facing a whole new set of challenges with the possibility of schools reopening or continuing virtual learning or some combination of both. So we've seen this big shift to remote, 48%, and we're going to continue to work remotely at least part of the time after COVID-19. And, from an HP perspective, what I'm hearing is I may not expect to get back in the office or on the road until February of next year. So it's a huge change. There's also work from home challenges. Companies aren't fully set up to support remote working. And then the security threats. We're much more vulnerable in our home environment. So, in our new way of working, we're many things at once. It's tough to balance productivity with work and life happening at the same time, not to mention staying safe and healthy. And it's really apparent that the tools most of us have at our disposal today, they're really not meeting those needs. And, but the thing is that we're overcomers. We push projects to completion. And while we're trying to balance, family in one hand and work priorities in the other. So, it's all about a new way of working, and it's time for this change. And experiencing this massive change means our customers are really reevaluating their needs. And the rapid transformation of a traditional and even the most progressive corporate environment pulls not only technology, but it really stretches people beyond their comfort zones. So it challenges their ability to maintain personal relationships, while remaining productive. So, as we consider that people are balancing work and life, often in the same environment, from the kitchen table, we're prioritizing the business and personal. Also, privacy and security, that's really at the forefront, as I mentioned earlier. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit, later. And then getting connected is very important. And within this home environment really presents some challenges for us because frankly, most of us aren't set up to accommodate that. So at HP, we're really making this pivot to address these new issues. And, we've always heard of the office of the future. Well, that office is new again. So the question is, really, how can we enable people to be their best? So, I think that in these new ways of working, if there's one thing I've learned over the past 5 months is that you need to be adaptable. I went from being on the road 70% of the time. In fact, I would guess that if times were normal like they were 5 months ago, I'd actually be there in person. So I went from being on the road all the time to 0% overnight, and so now I'm confined in this home office full time. And if this is what house arrest is like, then I think I'm going to stay out of trouble. But think about it, all in-person customer meetings, all events have become virtual, and even this one. And to make things even more interesting for me, my wife and son have also set up shop here at home. So, I'm sure everybody has a similar personal experience, whether it's, you've got kids at home and you got to, kind of homeschool, or, your wife is working from home, or your husband. So, I guess the question then becomes, what is that key to survival? And really, I think that key is that we have to adapt. And it's not about just adapting in our work lives, but we have to adapt in our personal lives. So this whole concept of one life that HP has been talking about, and others, it's never been more relevant. So that said, even though where, how, and when we work has changed, the bottom line is that we really have to adapt to remain productive. Let's see, I got so many things going on here at once. All right, so let's do this. So, so what's HP doing about it, I guess, is what the question is also. As we look at how our customers are working today, we're constantly re-innovating ourselves to deliver experiences, and you're going to hear a lot about experiences, and these are the things that you really rely on to get your work done. It's our focus to continue pushing into this change, to lead for the future, not just to respond to a moment in time. So in a world where all of my life we're out through the PC, it's not optional to be productive without it. And now more than ever, the PC is essential. It is more essential today than ever before. So in terms of adaptability, Elite is really the cutting edge of adaptability. HP Elite is our premium line of commercial notebooks. And what we're doing is transforming experiences to meet the personal needs of these new ways of working. So we want to be able to provide peace of mind to you wherever you work, and to provide that best overall experience to get the job done. I could focus on a lot of speeds and feeds today of the new line, which just went live in June. We've got another piece of it coming up here later this month and early September. But I thought it would be more appropriate to really highlight those innovations, the insight-driven premium experiences that we're developing, that we're driving to really help us all adapt. So this may be familiar to you, but this is a copy or a slide of our entire notebook product line. And it starts at the 200 series, which is our very entry level, actually does really well in APJ, all the way up through our premium. But then we also have our Z by HP line, which Z by HP went through a rebranding last year. I think we have to pay, put a quarter in the jar every time we call them workstations, HP workstations. So new branding here. And but then we also have specialty segments that we have to address, and those are things like healthcare and like education. So we've got a, soup to nuts, we've got a product line that spans all, the majority of segments. So, in terms of the 1000 series, this is where we do our most innovative work. This is where we bring new technologies, new experiences to market first. And a lot of times what you'll see is that these experiences end up waterfalling down throughout the product line. So one of the things that, some of the things that we're doing on the 1000 series is we're really pushing the boundaries of what design can be. And in addition to that, how do we pack in the right features that are really going to help us in terms of security and collaboration and those types of things. So, this is the 1000 series, again, is our premium line, and it's kind of what sets the stage for the rest of the product line. We really try to focus on performance. We are looking to get back, battery life is very important, and then also quieter. We've made some big changes to our keyboards this year in 2020. It's our HP Quiet keyboard, and it is actually 2 times quieter than our previous generation. It's a complete redesign, and it is really nice. The other thing I like about it, it has really big letters. The font on the keycaps are large, so it's much easier to see. 800 series is also considered part of our premium line, the EliteBook 800 series. Again, a lot of the same types of characteristics are in the 800 series that are also in the 1000 series. You'll see some of the same technology in there, but overall we're usually one little step below, because this is really our mainstream fleet product. This is what we sell the most of in terms of our commercial portfolio, next to Chrome. I take Chrome out of that, but the 800 series is kind of the bread and butter of the product line. And the other thing I'd like to point out is that we've elevated AMD. AMD was exclusively in its own little niche in the 700 series. We've now brought that up into the 800 series, and we're really giving customers a couple different choices. I don't know if you've been following AMD, but their stock price is actually higher than Intel's now. And I think that comes, it just didn't happen overnight. But what AMD is doing is really resonating with the buyers, and rightly so. We're seeing some amazing performance not only in terms of graphics, integrated graphics, and processing capability, but also on the battery life. It has tremendously improved. So we're really excited to have both AMD and Intel in our lineup. So this slide here, across our entire portfolio, we've engineered some really cool experiences, but it's the 1000 series where we elevate those experiences. And you can see on this chart here that anything that is in orange is an exclusive to the Elite 1000 series. The items in brown cover both. So for example, AI-based noise cancellation is limited to the 1000 series, whereas our SureView Reflect, which was exclusive to the 1000 series last year, is now available across Elite. So we're going to talk about some of these experiences here to give you some more insight on what's behind them, and hopefully this gives you a little glimpse into kind of where our heads are at and where we're going, and then really set the stage for what's going to happen the rest of the year and into 2021. So, with that, are there any questions before I start rolling into this area? Anything in chat, Lisa?
Nope, you can keep going.
All right, I'll keep going. The one thing that is really hard for someone like me that's used to being out in front of people is I can't see y'all. And so I don't know if, you can't, it's almost like you're performing, right? And I like to keep things interactive. So if you have a question, please enter it in chat, or if you want to pop on, that's fine too.
Hey, Rick, just to interject here. I don't know if attendees are able to see the chat feature right now. I don't know if somebody from PDS can confirm, but if you have a question and chat is not accessible from the device you're on, please just email pds@pdsit.net. We'll be monitoring that email, and if we see questions come in, we'll bring them up during the presentation here. So just a note there.
Awesome, thank you. So let's talk about getting connected. Getting connected has always been a concern. It doesn't matter whether you're at work or here at home. The other concern is, how do you stay connected? And we've seen this big increase. I think it's like 50% increase in conference calls. And true for me, conference call fatigue is real. So it really gets frustrating when the internet connection drops or hiccups, and we know that productivity never skips a beat. We have to keep producing, and that's why we're really making it easier to stay connected. I mentioned earlier that one of the problems I have is that I have 3 family members working from home, and that really puts a strain on the bandwidth. And I can't imagine, my son is older, and he limits his gaming at night. But for those of you with younger teens and at home who are using their downtime to do gaming, it could be a huge bandwidth suck. And even in the office, you might have a very condensed group of people sitting close together in one access point that is kind of serving them all, but you have other access points that may not have as much traffic. So getting connected is really important. So one of the things that we have done is we've created HP Extended Range Wireless, and it's really designed to clean up the connection by cutting through that Wi-Fi noise, signal noise, and optimizing multiple simultaneous connections over Wi-Fi. So again, what that kind of means is that our solution can recognize that we've slowed down, the pipe is tightened and narrowed, and it can shift you to another access point automatically where you can get better performance. So pretty cool feature. The other thing that we've done is we've added 5G LTE wireless to our 1000 series, which in fact we expect to be the world's first business notebook to ship with 5G. But as this network continues to be built, it's very exciting to know that we're going to be able to perform at that highest level. It's going to take some time as this rolls out throughout the country. It will require investment from companies, to make this jump, schools, work, healthcare organizations. But the one thing you can be rest assured is that you're future-proofed. Once this does take off and it is ready to go, we'll be ready to go with you. And it is an option on the 1000 series. Additionally, on the 800 series, we've tried to improve the experience by adding 4x4 antennas. So that makes it easier to go find the signal, but not only find it, but maintain a really strong connection. So, as for the other collaboration tools that you see on the screen here, we know that over half of our communication is nonverbal, and that's You know, that's exactly why we offer wide angle cameras, so you can get everybody, get the whole picture. And then for those times when you don't want to be seen on camera, we have the ability to physically block the camera lens with a new product on our 1000 series called the HP Sure Shutter. And it physically blocks the shutter with the press of a button. And you know, we've had discussions about, should it be a physical shutter slider? Can we do something that is a little more automated? And what we were able to do is parlay the HP endpoint security controller, which is really the foundation of our hardware-based security offerings, which is really unique to HP. And that provides a level of protection that reassures end users that when they hit that button, that camera is truly off and that it can't be hacked. So that's the big thing. On the 800 series, we've kept the privacy slider, so we have it on both touch and non-touch systems. So, you know, with just the slide of a finger, you can have that added privacy.
Hey, so, Rick, a couple of questions coming in here.
Sure.
One question is the G7 the upgrade to the X360?
Are you talking about the G7000 series or the 800 series? On the 1000 series, everything is moved to X360. So I guess that it probably answers that question. You know, before it was just the 1030. We've now moved that to the 1040. So you have the X360 form factor. On the 800 series, we still have the 830, but then we also have an 830 4050 in clamshell.
They're asking Generation 7.
Gen 7, yeah, that's where, Gen 7, Gen 6. So that Gen 7 is where that happens on the 1000 series. Yeah. Gen 7 on the 800 series is no different than Gen 6 in terms of that transition. So in Gen 7 of the 1000 series, we are getting X360 across the line.
And there's a question about side docks too, Rick. We're definitely going to address that and all the docking transitions with Charles Thomas, who's the third presenter.
Yeah, what I can tell you is that we've been kind of given the warning for the last 2 years that the side dock was going to go away on the Elite line, and in G7 it finally sunsetted after supporting over, I think it's 74 different models over the years, and we really hadn't made any changes to it since 2013, I think, with the 9470. So it had a really good run, but it was, you know, really kind of time to move on with that. Personally, I love that dock, but you know, it's, if you want to get thinner, you want to get lighter, you want to take advantage of Thunderbolt, you want to get the maximum performance, then it's time to move. So we'll let Charles talk more about that later. Any other questions? Okay, no. Go ahead.
Nope, that's it for now.
Oh, okay. All right. So you may have noticed on that previous slide that we were talking, there was a mention about AI-based noise reduction. Well, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because this is really, really cool. You know, since we're getting on these conference calls all the time, it's the introduction of cutting edge features like this that just don't take advantage of the better hardware, which we clearly do, but it also embraces the power of AI to identify background noises on calls and really to eliminate them. That's ultimately the goal. And, you know, I think of things like, I call them advanced background noises. And these are things like sirens or slamming doors, or what happens to me once a week is, you know, the mower comes rolling by my office and it's really, really loud, or the weed eaters. You know, these are the things that normal, regular noise cancellation, noise reduction software, it just can't, it can't deal with it. And so that's where our solution, our AI noise reduction, really comes in, because it's built on an AI noise reduction engine. And that engine is developed through a dynamic neural network. So think of a neural network as more of, like how your human brain works. If you're familiar with SureSense, there's, it's based on deep learning through these neural networks. So what that enables it to do is detect these sounds, and then, which are very distracting and perhaps in some cases embarrassing, but it can all but eliminate those noises. And we've got some really interesting videos that we can show you that demo some of these new features here, which I'd love to show you at a future time if this is something that you're really interested in. At a minimum, we can get you the links so that you can look at them. But literally, we watched a guy take his, pick up his keyboard and bang, 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 and you know how noisy a keyboard can do. He took a chip bag and rattled it back and forth. He had his phone, but he had a dog barking on it, and this literally removed those sounds. So it's very, very cool technology. It is available right now only on the 1000 series, but you're going to see that starting to migrate down into the 800 series here in the G8 generation. Okay, so from sofa to desk to bedroom, back to the sofa, back to the bedroom, back to the home office. It seems like we're always moving around from location to location. And that's where I think design kind of comes in. We use premium materials, we use aluminum, we use magnesium, and that's really done to create these lighter, thinner, and more durable notebooks. So, personally, I'm a big fan of the X360 hinge. I'm 6'7", and a normal clamshell, a regular clamshell, doesn't always adjust to the way that I want to work. The 360 takes care of that. You do have those different use modes, and one of the ones that I think is starting to get used more frequently, besides, we have tablet, we have clamshell, is the tent mode. And where you might need to set up your notebook over on this table for your kids to have them watch something and while you're working in your office. So I've actually seen people at HP do that, and it seems to be a pretty good way to keep the kids under control. The other thing that I really like is, and I'll actually show it to you on one of our new 435, is it has this tapered edge here, and this tapered edge is what we call our lift anywhere edge. And you want to be able to open up the notebook easily. And part of the problem is that we build our products to last at least 3 years, and one of the things is that this hinge needs to have that right tension so that it will last that amount of time. Well, it's a balance between having the right tension and being able to easily open the notebook. Well, our engineers figured out a way to strike that balance between the ability to open it and the ability to close, and to maintain the integrity of the hinge. So that's another feature that I really like, that we've incorporated not only across the EliteBook line in these new generations, but on the ProBook line as well. And then I talked about the quiet keyboard. It is, I don't know if the 400 series has it or not, but yes, it does. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but look at the size of the font on the keycaps. I mean, it is, I got 56-year-old eyes. I love it. It's a heck of a lot easier for me to see. We've moved the power buttons up to the top, so they're over here, and that's pretty much across the line. So that eliminates, accidentally bumping things. So if we're walking around in our house, we bump into something or we hit it mistakenly with our hand, you're not turning off the notebook. So moving it to the keyboard, I think, was a plus. So and again, this keyboard, the quiet keyboard, is 2 times quieter than our previous generation. Great if you're on, today, like if you're using the 800 series, it doesn't have the AI noise cancellation, but now it really it mutes those key clicks. So the design I think is really great for home. The other thing is that, you know, you mil-spec tested. You know, we not only test 19, you know, we go through 19 different tests, but we pass that 36-inch drop test. So if it gets knocked off your desk or somebody drops it, it's going to survive those types of bumps and bruises. Battery power, you know, this is interesting, especially in our environment today. You know, being able to work when and where I find the time or space or inspiration is really important. And having that long battery life is really key to making all that happen. And, you know, we do offer across our line, Elite and Pro, 1,000 cycle long life battery. And that 1,000 cycles is to represent a 3-year battery. And we do it across the line. Not everybody else does that. And if they do offer one, they'll charge you more money for it. You know, what this means is, you know, I'm really not having to be confined to an outlet. I don't have to be by a power outlet. If I want to go sit out in the living room and my wife steals my power cord, you know, it's not a problem. You know, I know that I have enough power to last day or night. And plus, you know, in this environment too, I think we're plugging in more often than not. So, you know, but needless to say, when we do get back to the office, we do get back onto the road, you want to make sure that you have enough battery life. And the thing I'd like to point out here is that, like, on our new EliteBook 835 G7, that's the AMD version, it has the longest battery life of any AMD Ryzen Pro notebook on the market, and that's coming in at 24 hours. So if you remember the old AMD architecture, you know, battery life was one of the challenges, and the gap between Intel and AMD was, you know, a light year apart. You know, fast forward today, and now you've got 24 hours. Well, on the EliteBook 1040, the G7, and that's using the 10th gen Intel Core processors, it's getting 27 hours of battery life. So now we've been able to shrink that gap. And again, you know, we're very proud to be able to offer both Intel and AMD technology and, you know, have that best in class battery life in the industry. So HP Presence Aware, this is a new feature for us. I mean, I think our competitors have had some form of it out in the market today. It's probably more of an in-office type of feature, but, you know, if you are a security guy, and I've been in security for the last few years, if you want to drive a IT security person nuts, get up from your desk without locking your PC. You're basically exposing everything that you've been doing to everybody, and there may be very sensitive, confidential data that people in other organizations don't need to know about. Plus, I know that at HP, if you leave your system unlocked, you just opened yourself up to somebody coming in and doing something to your PC that you may not have to have done. So with HP Presence Aware, we integrate a sensor into the LCD panel that can recognize when you move away from your desk, and when it does, it automatically locks the PC. Then when you come back to your desk, it recognizes that, hey, someone's sitting there, and now it will go through an authentication process using Hello, Microsoft Hello, so you can actually do that face recognition to get back into your system easy. So it provides another level of security that I think is important in today's corporate environments. Let's see. Okay. Lisa asked me to talk a little bit about our ZBooks, and you know, I'm not a ZBook specialist, so to speak, but I do know that there are a lot of synergies between the two product lines. You know, the new purpose-built thin and light design, we've been making these thinner and lighter We're using different type, we have our ultra bright displays, our bright view displays, narrow borders, long lasting battery. A lot of the same things that we use in the other lines are used in our ZBooks. The things that stand out to me is that we have a new thermal solution, which makes the system not only, it makes it a lot quieter. And what it is a vapor chamber cooling system, and it uses liquid crystal polymer to really reduce that thermal, the heat within the unit and dissipate it. So that is something that's new for us, and it's really, I think, very innovative, and I think it's where the future is going. You know, nothing's worse than having a bunch of fan noise going on, and this can help minimize that from happening. So again, the keyboard, they've worked on that keyboard. It has a it is like our quiet keyboard in that it's significantly, 2x quieter than our previous generation. But the other thing I like is that there's an optional creative layout. So it has the creative function keys to use like Adobe products and things like that. From a quality perspective, the one thing that's a little bit different is that they, on Z by HP, they go through 21 individual mil standard tests. So they add a couple more for, for their environment. So Z, we've got a number of transitions coming up. I think we've introduced Firefly, which the other thing that you'll notice on our line is that we've kind of moved. We're trying to simplify the whole, the HP EliteBook X360 G7, blah blah blah. It's really hard, not only for our customers but for us too. And so we're coming out with names like Firefly, like Dragonfly. There'll be a couple new ZBooks that come out later this year that'll be, Power and Fury. So we're going through this rebranding process to make it easier, for our customers. So let's talk about power and performance. We talked about the design a little bit, the new experience with the thermal cooling. The other thing is graphics. Graphics is huge. We offer a variety of both NVIDIA and AMD graphics for these professional workflows. These are the heavy creators, so they need the power and performance, and Z is what gives it to them. Also, we've stepped up security features here, and actually one of the things that Z has that I'm a little bit jealous of on the Elite side is this new tamper lock feature, which tamper lock really provides protection against physical tampering, which includes DMA attacks and TPM attacks. And the way that those are accomplished is usually an inside job, because a lot of our USB ports are open, and someone can easily, I can go out and buy a flash drive on the dark web for $50, and all I have to do is plug it into a USB port and I can brick the unit. So this really protects you against that type of attack. And again, it's backed up by HP's endpoint security controller. So it provides a level of tamper resistance and protection at the BIOS level as well that nobody else is offering today. And it's available on select models today. So anything that's new coming out in 2020 will have it. But where we'll really see it stretch across the line is in 2021. So I love this feature. I wish we had it on more of our product line. So speaking of security, I could talk about security all day. And since we've made that shift from the office to home, endpoint security has really been never more important than it is today. And one of the many challenges that IT faces is they don't feel like they have complete control over their employees' home offices. So whether that's the PC, the printers they're using, or any of the devices that they have connected to the network, those IoT devices. So Alexa and your smart refrigerator, your smart thermostat, even your home security systems, those are all open on the network. And so it really stretches IT to make sure that, employees' experiences at home, their security at home is solid, and that they have VPNs in place that can accommodate the extra load that's being forced upon them, and provide a level of protection where company data is secure. That's the big challenge, is how do we secure company data? And between firewalls and competing firewalls and maybe VPNs at home, it's really challenging. And I think that that's really why, one of the pillars that HP has been built on is security. It's been a priority of ours since at least 2014. Design, security, and collaboration. Those are the three. And I think companies have come to rely on us in terms of security, especially SMBs. And our claim as being the world's most secure and manageable PCs, I think, is really something that we can back up through our hardware-based security. It's anchored by HP SureStart. HP SureStart is the industry's only self-healing BIOS. So it heals, it monitors the BIOS for changes. Any deviation in the code, if it sees that, it automatically isolates that BIOS, and then it replaces it with a good copy, gold copy of that BIOS that's actually stored on that endpoint security controller. And the thing that's cool about it is it does this before the PC totally boots up. So, there are other companies that, or other solutions, I should say, that can detect a BIOS level attack, but they can't self-heal it. You have to boot the system up, and then it becomes a very manual process to remediate the issue. So, HP SureStart, based on the endpoint security controller, really provides that unique foundation for our product line, whether it's PCs, desktops, printers, retail point of sale devices, thin clients. I mean, we've integrated it across all of our product lines. A couple of the features that are worth pointing out here, and these are interesting because they're value adds. We don't charge for them, and I know that 99% of our customers, 99.99% of our customers blow off the image. And so when they blow off the image, they're blowing off a lot of the goodness that we provide in terms of added security features. But a couple worth talking about one is HP SureClick, because now that we're in this home environment, we may be sharing PCs with our family members, but and we also know that the cyber criminals out there today are really trying to take advantage of the current environment. So, they're really preying on us, and we become the victim, because what we're trying to do is we're going out to websites, we're going to social media sites, we're trying to find all the latest information, and we may not be thinking as clearly as what we would. We may not be as conscious of where we're clicking and what we're clicking on to get that information. The cyber criminals recognize that, and we've seen a 600% increase in ransomware since February. So a huge jump. A product like SureClick is a secure virtual browser, which, when it's enabled, contains everything in a sandbox. And what happens is when you go to a site and you click on a link and that link is bad, it's contained within that environment. So it may detonate, it may appear to have infected your system, but it really hasn't, because it's not on your system at all. And how do you get rid of it? You just click X out the tab, close the tab, and that malware is gone. So this is something that I think we use it at HP, I use it here at home. It just provides that another level of security, and again, it's a value add. So something that you might bring up with one of your customers that may be of interest to them. And again, we've got videos, we've got all kinds of documentation for you, collateral materials on these features. The other one I'd point out is SureSense. This is kind of a set it and forget it, but it's really designed to protect you against zero-day threats, so those unknown threats. And like our AI-based noise reduction, this is also AI-based on deep learning, which is kind of that next level above machine learning solutions that are out there today. So two things worth checking out. But at the end of the day, it's all about we offer security that's built in, not bolted on. We try to provide you with hardware solutions that are going to keep you safe. Sure starts there all the time. It's always working, and so you don't have to worry about those types of attacks. The other piece of it is that I don't care what piece of technology it is. It could be a PC, a printer, anything that you buy that connects to the internet or to your network. Every PC purchase decision is a security decision. And one of the other advantages that HP has is that you can rest assured that if you buy something from us today, it's going to protect you in the same fashion 3 years from now, just as well 3 years from now as what it does today. Sure, we're going to keep building on the core of the product, but you're going at a basic level, you're going to be able to protect yourself against BIOS level threats, being the ability to keep key processes going, to keep you safe when you're surfing the internet. So there's a lot of things that we're doing here, and so when you go or your customer goes to an RFP, it's really important that security is part of that process, part of that RFP process, and then you can weigh the options from there. But security is a vital part of that.
Hey, Rick, we need to wrap up in a couple minutes. We have a couple questions real quickly.
Okay.
The keyboard lock, how can that work through the LCD screen? To me, it seems more logical to use the camera. Can you please clarify?
Yeah, what we've done is we've created a totally isolated channel that uses our endpoint security controller, which the endpoint security controller is isolated from the BIOS and everything else. And what it does is its only purpose is to enable or disable that camera. So it doesn't have any other, how do I explain this? You can attack it from other different angles. It's not weaved into other things. It is a direct connection. I'm not explaining this real well, but it is secure, and we can get you some information there. There are people out there, right, that unless it's just a physical slider, I'm not going to trust it. I get that, but that's why we've really tried to engineer this so that it handles, so that it's able to handle, withstand those types of the potential hacking or things like that.
Okay. We had another question about the G6 lineup, kind of a little question about when that's going to run out. Just so you know, most of the units should run through October 31st. Kind of depends on the model. If whoever sent that question will just reply to the PDS site and let us know which model, I can tell you exactly the end life for that product. We also have a question that kind of leads into this slide. A customer loves the embedded RFID readers on the healthcare edition, and they are wondering, especially with the reduction of the USB ports on laptops, is that something that's going to come to the EliteBook 1000 line at all?
It's been a part of our healthcare edition for 3 years now, and it's something that we've been talking about, but we don't have a commitment to in terms of moving it up into the Elite line, with the exception of our healthcare line. I believe we also have the option on maybe our all-in-one as well, but Bob can set me straight there.
Okay.
So I don't have a good answer either way, but I can tell you that it's something we've been discussing.
Perfect. And then I think in about 2 minutes, we can wrap up the laptop. That'd be great.
I have 2 slides.
Perfect.
So the last one is sustainability. This one's pretty straightforward. As in my current role, this is likely the one question that I get asked the most. Are your notebooks sanitizable? If so, what can I use on them? What we do with our products now is we are, the well-being of our customers is really important. And so what we're doing is taking our products through testing, so our Elite line goes through a test where we wipe down a unit 1,000 different times. And we're using new surfaces and metal and materials that are designed to withstand those wipes, those daily wipes. And so it does that without removing or dulling the finish. Now, if you try that with plastic, good luck. It's going to really impact it. And then our healthcare products, we even take that a step further. We increase that from 1,000 tests to 10,000 tests, and those are using germicidal wipes. So, our recommendation, our guidance, it follows the CDC's guidance, but we've also been working on improving our products to make them sanitizable within this market or this environment today. So I want to talk about sustainability. It's really important to HP. Just know that HP is in the forefront of recycling and taking care of the environment. We have redesigned everything from the systems itself to the packaging that it comes in. We're going to continue to push in these areas and continue to. We just know how important this is, and we will continue to make this a big part of our strategy. So, talked about the PC as essential. We talked about the ability to adapt. We have to, while we adapt, HP has to continue to come out with solutions that make working from home easier. A lot of us are going to continue to work from home, I would guess, for an indefinite period of time. So, we're working on these new experiences that's really going to make working from home easier. And hopefully you got a few ideas here, or at least a little taste of what we're doing in terms of innovation and those experiences. And I'd be happy to share more with you later about this if you're interested. So thanks for letting me talk today. I really appreciate it. And you guys, I think, who are we turning it over to now, Lisa?
We are turning over to Bob. Bob, you can
turning it over to Bob. Let me stop sharing here.
Okay. While we're doing that, I'm just going to throw up a quick slide and offer a reminder that depending on what device you're on or how you connected, you may not see the Q&A feature, and just want to make sure we get all those questions in. So if people could submit questions to pds@pdsit.net, we're monitoring that during the conversation here, and we'll try to address those questions in real time or follow up afterwards. So Bob, I think you're good. You're
and can everybody hear and see me and everything?
Yep, you look good.
Okay,
good, yeah.
Good deal. Okay, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I want to go over what we're doing. Same thing Rick was going over, but what we're doing on the desktop side of things. Really talking about how desktops fit into the new normal that Rick touched on previously. Again, this is, I kind of gauge myself on how intelligent I am by how many slides I duplicate from Rick's presentations, because he's really smart. And so there's going to be a couple of them that look very familiar to you, but a little bit of twist with the desktop side of things. Everybody knows about the new way of working. Rick touched on it very well about everybody's moving home with the quarantine, the COVID situation, that sort of thing. But that transformation was happening even before the quarantine happened. Everybody's working from home more, so the personal, secure, and connected story is the same for desktops that is for notebooks and laptops. It's an all-encompassing industry shift. One number that isn't on here that I really want to share, excuse me, sorry about that. One number that's on here that's not on here that I want to share is HP did a survey pre-COVID, before ever the quarantine situation occurred, did a survey of end user ITDMs, end user buyers, that sort of thing. and asked them what kind of, for people who are working from home, what are you buying them? And it was kind of an interesting result that 63% of the people who work from home got a laptop, but 45% of them got a desktop. Now, I know that adds up to over 100%, because we're all really good at math, but some people got dual units. But the important part is 45% were still getting a desktop. They weren't truly mobile workers. And I guess, now that we aren't really mobile, now that everybody's working from home even more, we aren't really a mobile worker. Yes, you can bounce around the house, that sort of thing, but you're not going anywhere. You're not mobile. And so a desktop is and can be a very good solution within that environment. So expanding upon that, again, Rick showed this this slide, and you got all the different locations within the house that you can work. You got the desk, you can bounce from the kitchen to the couch, that sort of thing. But my question to you is, I work with a laptop. I think Rick works with a laptop. Most everybody at HP has a laptop. And if you work with a laptop as your production, your business unit, how often do you really unplug it? I haven't moved my laptop since we came home in the late February, early March timeframe. I unplugged it once, I think, so I could actually watch a movie on it, driving my TV, streaming a TV. But other than that, I haven't moved mine. I work in the same location, and I actually, and this might be just me personally, but I actually prefer that because it helps institute that work-life balance. I know when everybody works from home, the lines get blurred even more and more. You log on earlier. You don't take a shower. You just go straight to the PC and you log on and you start answering emails. You got webcam conversations. You got conference calls at all hours of the day and night. You eat in front of your PC. You don't get up and go to lunch. The work-life balance becomes a big gray area as opposed to a work-life balance. Me personally, I've used that as a help to determine what my work life and my home life. And so a desktop really could be the best solution for me in that environment. So what we've done in order to help move into the adaptability story that Rick mentioned in leading innovation is really kind of expand upon the desktop and how we can. How can we expand upon desktops? Because we don't have the big fancy displays. We don't have all the different, features and feature sets. A desktop is still a black box. So how can we improve those? So what we've done is we've really improved the performance, the capabilities, the size, and the environmental impact, how it can have, and the impact on the environment overall, and the impact on the environment in your home. Highest capacity, better performance, more expandability. That's really a key, is more expandability, how you can use a desktop PC to expand and improve your work-life balance and work-life impact. Across the 3 different form factors, you get the tower, the small form factor, and the mini. Really focusing on the mini, it's the smallest and powerful. The more, like I said, expanded the flexibility of input-output configurations. That's the expandability. Moving into the VR capability realm. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. And then the quietest, how it impacts your home, your work environment, is a lot. Sound, acoustics is a big part there, and then we're going to get into that a little bit more. Now, we did that across our entire platform, our entire platform portfolio. So as you can see, we've got on the going from left to right, we've got excuse me, let me get this. Here we go. Going left to right, we've got our 400 series. For the SMB customer, we've got a small form factor and mini. Moving up to our ProDesk 600, we've got the entire form factor capabilities. The mini through the all-in-one, small tower and all-in-one. Elite, our Elite series 800 and 805s. With the 805 delineates AMD, 800 is Intel. Same thing on the ProDesks down here as the 400 and 405. We don't have the tower, but we've got everything through the all-in-one. I'm going to touch on the all-in-one here in a second. Collaboration. Our Slice and our Elite collaboration PCs you wouldn't think that people aren't in an office, people are working from home. Why do I need a conference calling solution? But we aren't going to be here forever. and conference calling solutions really have taken off. We've got different couple promotions here, try and buy, that kind of thing, for our elite slice capability or products that you can use and decide whether you like. Your customers can use or decide whether they like before they buy. And we can get a little bit more information on that after the call if you like. Then I'm going to cover a little bit on the Z workstations. We've got all the way many all the way up to our Z2 and Z1s, all the way up to the Z8s. And then again, the collaboration slice for meetings and our elite all-in-one healthcare edition. I'm going to touch on that here in a second as well. Our all-in-one portfolio, we've got 3 different all-in-ones. We've got the 600 all-in-one G6, we've got the 800 G6, and we've got the 800 healthcare G5. For the G6s, we've really kind of stepped up our game. We've got 22 through 27-inch displays. The 22 and the 24-inch displays can also have the Sure View Reflect security feature option. As an option, it's not standard for any, depending upon the configuration you like. Up to 64 gigs of RAM, and as well as including RTX 2070 Super graphics cards as a possibility. That puts you into the VR capability realm. That puts you into driving multiple displays off of this, 4K displays with ease. VR capability and an all-in-one. We've really seen an uptick in the all-in-one business as people have moved to home during the pandemic. You wouldn't think so, but all-in-ones have become a very popular, very streamlined, very clean solution for people working from home who don't need the mobility of a notebook. It takes up so much little space, so fewer square inches than square footage in your work environment that the all-in-ones. I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised that they're a distinct number 2 in the desktop demand unit for a work from home solution. As far as the 800 healthcare, I know people were asking about in the chat about the healthcare editions. We are not refreshing the G5 healthcare edition or the all-in-one, but we are extending it through August of next year. And then, as Rick mentioned, it's got the 10,000 time sanitizing testing capability. It's a very popular and a very specific, very robust system for the healthcare environment. So we are keeping that around through August of next year so far. There aren't any plans to refresh it into the G6s. I don't know if when the G7s come out on the new on the next Intel rollout, whether we're going to be extending that into the G7 space. Now, this is kind of a high-level overview of how we've improved the entire line. The G6 Pro and Elite Desk series, we're moving up to 10th gen Intel Core up to i9 processors, 2933 memory for i7 and above. The 805 AMD units will be coming out. They will be launching in the late October timeframe. Well, with the 4th gen Ryzen 3, 5, and 7 processors. We've increased our graphics capability. We're kind of really bridging the gap between a desktop and a workstation. Sorry, I got to put a quarter in the taco pot, as Rick mentioned. It's bridging the gap between a desktop and a Z by HP unit. We've got up to an RTX 2080 card in the Tower small form factor on the 800 series, and then the NVIDIA GTX 1660 Ti for the desktop mini. I'm going to get into that in a minute, which allows you VR capability across the entire form factor platform. Flexibility, again, for configuration for input, output, and design, really giving you the flexibility to design the exact unit, what you need, and where you need it. The run quiet design. This is something that I was actually really impressed with. Our run quiet design, they spent a lot of time working on the acoustics of, the fan, and as Rick mentioned, it really reduced the fan noise. I have had several mobile workstations that, after using them for about an hour, they sound like they're taking off. They're going into orbit. I think they were built by SpaceX as opposed to HP. What the run quiet design on the desktops has really reduced the sound, the acoustic noise of the fan. What it's done is it's lowered the output, the decibels, from 20, and it caps out when the unit is under full load at 34 decibels. For reference, your refrigerator runs at about 42 decibels. They call it a babbling brook, is around 35 decibels, and 20 decibels is roughly a whisper. You can Google, different acoustics charts for what the sound was, but these things really run nearly silently, even under a full heavy load. Moved on, for connectivity, working from home. Rick mentioned a lot about the bandwidth, that sort of thing, for connectivity. Wi-Fi 6, extended range wireless LANs for all of our units. And then the collaboration story. Now the collaborate, desktops, again, they're a box, and you need additional, components to make it a useful PC. With collaboration story, we can seamlessly connect to our Mini-in-One 24-inch display, which is really cool unit. Excuse me. You can connect to any sort of docking displays. I want to get into a little bit later, but we've got a full line of accessories to help you design exactly what you and your customers are looking for. Moving on to the Mini, this is kind of like our flagship product. If you look at NPD data over the last, year to year and a half, the Mini form factor is really taking over the industry. You got a up and to the right line for the Mini form factor, and you got a down and to the right line for the small form factor. And the only other, ironically, up and to the right line is the all-in-one. But it's still 70% of the market is the small form factor, is the Mini, and about 10 to 15 is an all-in-one. So the Mini form factor is the future of the desktop. So what we've done to help increase the performance and increase the capabilities of our Mini is we've expanded again on the import, the I/O port configurations. We've now got 2 flex ports. Our previous generation only had 1 flex port where you can input an HDMI, VGA, DP port, that sort of thing, whatever you like. We've now got a single flex port, the same flex port there, but up and on the right here is where we've also got an additional flex port where you can put either dual USB-As or a serial port, or that's where our graphics card goes. So if you decide to choose a Mini, an 800 G6 Mini with the RTX 1660 Ti card, that will have the additional ports that you see up here. So natively, you can support up to 7 4K displays with a desktop Mini without the need for daisy chaining. You don't have to connect. You can connect 7 displays to this one unit, 7 4K displays, and run off of a little package that's smaller than the size of bread. Everybody knows what the size of a Mini is. Again, you'll have the run quiet design on that unit as well. So you can push it. You're going to have something that looks like it belongs in NASA, running off a small little brick that's virtually silent. Again, running off the 10th Intel core up to i9 and 95 watts in the Mini. So you can have an i9 graphic. Actually, you can't have the graphics card with an i9, but you can keep up with an i7 with the 1660 4 gig graphics card, giving you VR capability as well. Now, you can also, if you see this picture right here on the right, that's our Mini-in-One. It's a previous generation, that's our G5, but the G6 Mini slides right in there, utilizing the powered USB-C port on the back of the Mini, and you've got a seamless 1-button control for your all-in-one solution, your Mini solution into the Mini all-in-one. Allows you to upgrade, change your PC in and out, and still keep the same seamless, clean look on your workspace. Again, here's the Mini. Sorry, I kind of I got a little excited and went to it a little bit fast. You got a single button power on, and Charles can give you a little bit more details on the Mini-in-One display, but it works seamlessly with all levels of our Mini. Our 400, 600, and 800 series slides right in the back of it, as long as you got the powered USB-C port on the back, and you've got an instant all-in-one. Again, it's secure. You can lock the unit in through the back of the all-in-one. No one's going to be able to tamper it. No one's going to be able to get to the ports. It's a secure all-in-one flexible compatibility solution for any environment, really. And moving on, again, you can't talk about the Mini, like I mentioned, the accessory story. We've got an entire Mini ecosystem fit around our desktop Minis. We've got the expansion modules for the legacy ports and DVD burners and writers and that sort of thing, the mounting brackets so you can choose which display you like, security boxes, on and on and on, as well as optional flex port cards. So if you buy a unit without a flex port or you want to change the flex port out on the unit, you can change the flex port with an ammo option card. One note of that, and Charles will get into this a bit later, that the flex ports have changed from G5 to G6, so they're not backwards or forwards compatible. You're going to get new part numbers for those, but you have the full range of options on both generations. And I'm sorry.
Oh, Bob, we have one quick question. Any changes to the mounting brackets for the Mini?
No, up here it's the mounting bracket is the same B300 with the that slides right into the cable, the cable slot right here. So it's the same VESA mount. It's the same, G5 to G6. It's not changing.
Okay, thank you. And just a couple minutes left.
Okay, and Charles can, get in a little bit more of the mounting brackets, but there's no change as far as the functionality goes. The display dock fleet, I'm going to just touch on this. We've got, it's kind of like the Mini One uses the powered USB-C, and everybody's talking about the docking displays where you just plug in a powered USB-C into your laptop and you've got one cable connecting to your display and it is a dock in one. This works with the Mini as well. You don't have to have a laptop to use a display dock. You plug, as long as you got the 100-watt powered USB-C powered delivery port on the back of that Mini, you can plug it into a docking display and you got the exact same functionality. Same clean look, same clean desktop, mounted on the back, and you've got a full range of docking displays with the Mini. And this is just something we threw together to show you how a desktop can help you. And so I just compared this gen over gen with a desktop to our own Elite book. I don't want to, compare to our competitors or anything like that. So just showing you can get an Elite desktop with an Elite display and save almost $600 compared to just to a laptop. So you can really show your customers the increased performance because the processor on this 800 is going to be a different processor. Even i5 to i5 or i7 to i7, it's going to be a more capable processor, either 35 or 65 watt compared to the 15 watt on the notebook. Plug it into a display, you've got a clean look, bigger display, and you can save the customer $591. This is just one example. We've got other units out there with various rebates on them to even show even bigger savings, like huge savings, more than 2-to-1. But I wanted to show you, and you can build this sort of to show any kind of apples to apples comparison that you can save your customers money, increase their productivity, and still keep a clean, slim look for a working from home environment or any environment. I'm going to touch on workstations here real quick. The desktop, the Z has 2 quarters. I got to put the taco pot now. The Z by HP. We are launching the Z2 G5s in the October timeframe. The Z4, Z6, and Z8 are in the middle of their life cycle. They've got a longer 3-year life cycle. So we're in the middle of life cycle. We're not going to really roll those out, I believe, until late 21. But we start down at the Z1 tower, move up to the Z2 tower into the Z2 and small form factor and Mini. The next gen Z2s, G5s we've increased the expandability. Again, taking the same approach across the entire platform. The big difference is that on the Z2 Mini, what we're going to have is you're going to be able to get up to RTX 3000 graphics card, the NVIDIA RTX 3000 card in the Z2 Mini, as well as dual M.2. So you've got RAID capability in a Mini form factor for a workstation. So you've got all the way up to the Xeon processor, RTX 3000 graphics capability, as well as M.2 with RAID on a very extremely light and small form factor that's rackable, mountable on the back of a mounting bracket on the back of a display. So you've got the same capability from a fit and function as a desktop Mini and a workstation, really, powerhouse capable platform. And then the last product I really want to talk about is our Z Central Connect software. This has actually been we've seen demand in this increase, I think 5-fold. I think this number is since the quarantine began. If you're not familiar with this, is our new rebranding of old RGS software, remote graphics software, with added capabilities. The Z Central Connect software is a suite where it allows you to remote dial in. It's your own private VPN into a workstation at a remote location. The Z Central Connect software allows more manageability from an ITDM perspective. Centralized power on and off. You get one-click access. They can manage the connections remotely. Your ITDM can manage who has access to what unit remotely, whether it's shared unit in a rack situation or if it's individual access to individual units. And then the remote boost software is that actual software where you connect to a unit. This allows you. This comes. The licenses come on every Z workstation that we sell, but it is also sold in licenses, so you can apply this to any workstation regardless of OEM. So you load the software onto the workstation, whether it's at the remote location, whether it's ours or a Z or any other unit. Then you can access it with the receiver software from any device. You can load the receiver software onto your HP laptop, your HP desktop at home, a tablet, a phone, even if you like, and you get 95% of the capabilities of that workstation unit that's sending you to the work, because all the work is being done on that remote workstation. The only thing that's being transferred back and forth is pixels. You can adjust the display resolution to fit whatever unit you are using as a receiver, and that display resolution does not change on the actual sending unit that's at the remote location. This is your own private VPN into your workstation unit. So if your customers are working from home, they're doing high-end, video editing, data science, whatever it is that requires a lot of horsepower and that requires a big unit or a Z by HP unit, they can still have that capability, and they don't need to buy a big one, to put in their house. They don't need to duplicate the hardware in order to utilize the hardware they've already got. Again, this works on any units, regardless of OEM. There's just different kinds of licenses you need to buy. There's also a 2-month free trial out there that you can utilize. You go to hp.com, and I'll make sure Lisa has the link, and I can send out the link afterwards when we send out the deck. That you go to the link, answer a few questions, sign up. You can sign up for a 2-month free trial to test it out, see if it works. Your customers can utilize it, see if it works, see if it fits, see if they can make it fit within their systems. And there's no obligation to buy. It's a really cool system. Like I said, the demand for this has jumped through the roof. I urge you to talk to your customers about it. If they have problems with budgeting, they can't buy a new unit, this is a great solution. And then again, I'm showing off how intelligent I am by copying Rick's slides. Again, we have the most sustainable PC portfolio, even on the desktop side. 50% recycled plastic in our desktops. And I am by nature a cynical person. When I saw this promote this campaign within HP, it's like, okay, yeah, we're just, we're really, just appealing to the public about, the current, environment. This really is a concerted effort on the part of HP, and I really am proud of it. We really are focusing on producing products that are sustainable in an environment sustainable, and as well as taking care of the planet that we all live on. So between recycled plastics, recycled aluminums, building products out of completely recycled fabric, recycled packaging, this is a concerted, ongoing, long-term effort on the part of HP to really make us one of the most, if not the most, responsible PC manufacturers in the world. And again, we've got the entire security story for all of our all the desktops. Our security features increase as you go through the platforms. The 400 series has, we've got our SureClick and SureSense on the 400 up to the 800, where we've got the entire, the complete updated security suite. Rick really went through this. Rick knows the security story much better than I do. But again, we've got our entire security story on all of our desktops. And finally, just again, this is another one I copied from Rick as well. Just the PC is still essential, but I like to extend that to the desktop is still essential. The desktops do have a place in the working from home and the new normal. And please, keep in mind that the desktop is a solution that can save your customer money, increase productivity, and increase their work from home, work-life balance all in one package. And that's all I've got.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I think that we've answered most of the questions that have come in, Bob, but if we have more, we'll let you know. Thank you so much. Charles, did you want to load up your presentation? And for those of you on the phone, Charles is going to go just past 10:30, just so you know, but this is where we bring the whole enchilada together, so hang in there.
Yeah, I apologize for that, but hopefully it's been good information, and that it's something that you can take back to your employees and to your team that you work with and talk about. You know, we work really hard on our products, and you know, Bob and Rick and I, we really get to experience the best part, and that's sharing it with you. Our engineers unfortunately have to hear from us on how it went. So, and we do our best to explain. So on the displays and accessories side of it, my name is Charles Thomas. I've been working with this category team for I think about 3 years now. And man, I miss the MPI. I used to do the MPI as a different lowly PBM, and by lowly I mean Lisa's way up here and I was down here. So very grateful to still be contributing to this wonderful event that you have working with the customers. So when it comes to displays and accessories, I have to ask a question: what would you rather have, A, or would you rather have B? And that really comes down to, you know, what are you giving yourselves? What are you working with, and what are you working with at home? Obviously, I hope you pick B, because, you know, the dual monitors, you have set up with the docking station that attaches to your notebook PC, or perhaps you're working on a desktop or desktop mini that's sitting behind those monitors as well, giving that full work. But also you have a full keyboard and mouse too. Working for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week or more on a small keyboard, just isn't gonna happen, right? It's not the best, especially a trackpad. Oh my goodness, I hate working in hotel lobbies on a trackpad. The worst. So when it comes to commercial displays, just real quick, I want to throw out my portfolio. Our most popular selling series of displays are our Elite Series displays, just because they really do hit the mark where it comes to comfort for neck, but also ingenuity and what we actually design. We design these and then put them in the manufacturing process. So a lot of your input and your experience comes back to us and goes into this thing. Followed by that, our performance series of our Z displays for, you know, workstation class and just high-end graphics. And then of course our Essential series we have. But we also have these specialty series of healthcare displays, our S series premium. I love our premium displays. We call it our executive displays because we find that a lot of like the higher ups in the companies love to have bigger, more sleek looking displays to show off to potential clients for their businesses. So it's a pretty fun aspect to have. I actually have a 43-inch monitor on my desk along with my 14-inch notebook that I'm working with right here. So one of the reasons why people come to HP is because they last forever with our displays and accessories, and that's honestly, especially the displays, the quality and reliability comes from our top grade components that we put into it. We do a rigorous testing. The testing isn't just at factory level, it's actually before factory, at factory, especially during at factory, and then after factory. It goes to the field. There's typically about 27 tests that anybody does, including our competitors, but HP has an additional 20 tests. That's a total of 47 tests that we do on our displays to ensure that they're going to work. And in some aspects, it's kind of unfortunate. They last longer than their warranty for sure. I'm sure you've had that experience with that, but we still have a minimum of 3-year warranties on our commercial displays, and there are some that do 4. And that's our new P22H and so on. They're height adjustable Essential series types of displays. They have 4 years on them. It's hopefully we get to 5 someday, right? That'd be really cool. Thanks to your insight and of course your use of our displays, we found that the growth of increased sizing of displays has gone better. I remember when I first started with HP about 9 years ago, I had a 19-inch display. It was a square 4:5 ratio. And then when I got my first 21.5-inch, I was so excited. I was like, this is huge. It's funny to think back because I'm sorry, I'm working on a 43 now. It's ridiculous. Isn't it ridiculous? That's one of the benefits of being a displays and accessories guy. I get to play with all the displays and I get to choose what I want. But we found that now the 23.8 or the 24-inch is number one, not just for HP, but even our competitors. 24 inches is the #1 selling display size, and by a bunch too. 21.5 inches is still pretty popular, and so is 23, but 24 is the top. But the trend is moving up. 27 is now starting to creep in. It's almost in 4th place for size sales, for most competitors. And in fact, there's some competitors, 27 inch is their number 4. So it's just, that's where so we're moving along with it, making sure that we're providing those sizes and increased resolutions too. We've got this cool docking display. I won't go too deep into it, but hopefully you understand a little bit back from what Rick and Bob have talked about. It's literally a display with an integrated USB-C docking station in it. So without having to use a docking station, you just plug right into the monitor, and it powers your PC and it powers your desktop minis. It's ridiculously cool. So less stuff on your desk, more of a streamlined solution, and honestly, especially with people working from home, it's much easier to purchase it and send it to them rather than 5 more packages for what they need to set up a true production at home. Our healthcare industry, we have some healthcare folks here today. I hope you have seen or at least used our displays. These are true healthcare displays. They're designed to fight off microbial growth, but also to be cleaned, kind of like our new series, but these are more heavier, a lot more cleaning, more throughout the day, and you can actually log in to the monitor and say, yep, it's been cleaned. It'll log it as, okay, this has been cleaned as of today at such and such a time. We found that these healthcare displays are being sold actually into financial banks, places where customers come inside and use the monitor so that they can also clean their displays heavily and often during this pandemic. So it's been great use for essential businesses as well. And of course, enhanced collaboration, right? We are working. We've got some awesome monitors and accessories out there to help us to work on that, to be better about viewing each other and talking to each other. You may not recognize me, but if you'd recognize me, they've actually found that that even though we're not face-to-face physically, it does enhance your day and kind of offset that loneliness that some people can feel. But we're offsetting the industry a little bit more again, because in October we're introducing our new Elite Display series. And one of the cool things about it, there's little things we do, but I think my most favorite part about it is the IEs. What that is, from this, hopefully you can see this and it makes sense to your eyes there, that when you have blue light, it's becoming more popular to have that filter built into the monitor. But when you turn it on, it looks yellowish, sepia, old Western style. And that's because it is taking out the blue in that light spectrum that we have, that color gamut. But can we do better? And we can. We've actually been able to engineer with our experts at HP with color and computing to take out that blue light that causes, to some people, headaches or strain, and still look like a normal screen. So even for a person such as me, I don't have that problem yet, probably, right? Give me another 10 years, might have it. I can actually have this on now and not even know it's on and still be able to work. So something that we're doing that's, I think, fantastic. It's offsetting what our competition is doing as well. A big deal, but it's still it's an Elite Series display, so it still has the personalized ergonomics, right? The height adjustment, the pivoting and swiveling of the display, allowing you to work the way you want to work, standing up or sitting down. It's very comfortable. We have these new remotely managed. You can manage our advanced docking monitors from far away, just like as if it was a docking station or a PC. So now you can work with your employees from far away too. Optimized resolution, like I mentioned, we're increasing sizes and resolutions. We're gonna have a new 24-inch display at quad high. It's the step between full high definition and 4K. So better quality resolution there for people who are just, once they get used to a good resolution, it's hard for them to go back to the older resolution, and we found that's true. And so we're having more of those quality resolutions in there for you too. This could be a two-tone look display. It's going to have a nice black, sleek, three-edge bezel-less frame, basically, with a nice silver stand. So it'll look different than our current series we have now too, but not hugely different, right? And then of course, if you ask me, hey Charles, what's the difference between our Elite series and our Essential series? Because some of this, crossover like DisplayPort or IPS panels, you get into the nerdy specs, you can ask me a lot of questions. Big thing here too is the USB hub. Like our P series or Essential series don't have USB hubs on the monitors. It's our Elite series that do. So that's a game changer for some people. So it's important to know, and hopefully that's something that you would want to know too. Okay, as alluded to before, Ultra Slim Dock, thank you for all you've done with HP. It's not actually going away. The Ultra Slim Dock is sticking around till December of 2021. So we got like a year and a few months of it still active and kicking around. But you'll see here the current G6 series, which is available, I believe, till November. So someone was asking about that earlier. It's around for a little bit longer, but buy it soon because our manufacturing starts to ramp down while the new stuff ramps up, right? So then there's less and less of it. But you can find two big differences between the G6 and the G7 series of EliteBooks and ProBooks. And that is the side dock is gone, and so is the RJ45, right? And this is going to make a nice, sleek, thinner look here. So what does that mean? It means, well, obviously these two items here are no longer connectable to our G7 series of EliteBooks and ProBooks. But that's not a bad thing, because the truth is we have had excellent cable docking solutions since the G5 series came out. So even your G5 and G6 is compatible perfectly with our USB-C and our Thunderbolt dock, because a Thunderbolt dock universal across USB-C and Thunderbolt devices, and USB-C has always been compatible with Thunderbolt devices, but as well as USB-C devices. You don't have to be like, what do I have on my PC anymore? With HP especially, you don't have to ask that question, because it's going to work. Since G5, it's been working, so not a huge deal there with worrying about it. So if you look at this nice ugly slide, which my boss helped design with the colors anyways, so don't tell him I said that. If you ever meet him, you go ahead, he'll just laugh. But yeah, this just shows you now, since what we've been doing, everything that's green or with that bright, not bright, but that thick black bold around it, those are compatible only with our Thunderbolt and USB-C docks. And I say and, meaning both. Either one you can use on it. But the ones that are more like without the black bold on it, but are orange and green, those have been compatible with both. And as you see, those are stopping November, December timeframe. But the new G7 series of 800, 805s and our ProBook G8 series, those are all going to become, compatible only with our Thunderbolt dock. So hopefully this shows you, and then you trust me on it, that this is happening right now and that it's going to happen. But why HP docking stations? Thunderbolt and USB-C ports are quite universal across. You can find third-party docking stations to go with it. And we would love for you to stick with HP, because we've done some things to make these more compatible with each other and provide much more use for you too. Number one, and it may not be as big to you, but the power button. The BIOS written into our EliteBooks allows you to turn on the device here from just off mode or sleep mode or hibernation mode, whatever mode you got. If it's off, you can't see the screen, push the power button on the dock and it'll power up your notebook. And another really cool one, this probably is more important to you than to other people, maybe to myself. I love the power button, but the network management capabilities for your notebook are excellent, but they won't work if it's on a non-HP dock. It only works with an HP dock station, but the HP docking station itself is also manageable over the network, which means remote management, wake on LAN, unattended updates. Like if you're not at your PC, your IT department can still send out those updates to those important notebooks or to the docking station or to our advanced docking monitors. A new cool feature on our USB-C docks particularly is electronic tag asset management. That's ETAG. So now you can actually, itemize where it is, what serial number it has, give it a name or the product name if you want to as well. There's a lot of similarities to the MAC address, but with ETAG, you can keep that asset tagged and wherever it is. And again, your IT department can do all of this from far away without having to, bring it into the office to do it, And of course, this also works on our advanced docking monitors, our E270, our E24D. These are 100-watt push USB-C docking monitors, and they have everything you need to work from home, including an audio dock, so you can plug in your headset by USB or by 3.5mm jack, and you've got an IR camera on this one. The IR camera is for Windows Hello, and of course, ETAG and network management and power on, single power on, all that great stuff that happens. So your IT department is going to love those docking monitors and those docking stations that we have right now. So I'm going to zip through this a little bit fast because you want to get back to what you're doing, right? And then we're a little bit over time. And I thank you for sticking around, those who are still here. I appreciate it. Just want to show off a little bit why it's so important to have monitor setups and docking stations at home. So this is not uncommon, especially at the start of the kickoff to the COVID-19, people running home with whatever they had on the desk, if they were allowed to bring it home. Some weren't, many weren't actually. And so here they now are set up. They have two monitors, but only one's powered because they found that their notebook only has one connectivity port, and that's the HDMI. And you can't split HDMI. You can't split it. You can split display board, but this, we can't do that. Also, the USB ports on this EliteBook here is all maxed out, and they're powering all this. They have extra cords all over the place. They've got at least a wireless mouse. That's nice that they grabbed that. Probably took that from the boss's desk. But if you just throw in a docking station for them, Next thing you know, you have actual dual displays, even triple displays if you want to, powered, while the notebook itself is being powered. And I don't mean charged, I mean powered. At 100 watts, that is pushing that Intel or AMD processor that's on there is getting its full power needs to run at 100% efficiency. Plus, you have those extra USB ports on the back to allow you for your wireless headsets. And look, they even got an upgraded wireless keyboard there. So really cool for them. So this is the flexibility and productivity we have for employees, whether they're working from home or from the office. This gives them the same productivity they can have wherever they're working with that. So always think about with the PC, what kind of docking station we get for them. I mean, we have single display support docks. They're cheap, $100. Very expensive, but you can go up to more productive USB-C and Thunderbolt docks there that are doing multiple displays, which I would prefer, you know, if I did, unless, you know, you have one big monitor, then, well, you know, it works as two. Give some love to our desktop mini. Bob's absolutely correct. You're not going anywhere unless you're like working in the kitchen and you got to move around a bit sometimes. A desktop is an excellent option, especially how considering how inexpensive they are. But this is the mini one. This is our cool display we have that allows you to fit the mini inside of it. So if you actually can put the mini inside, get it off the desk, and there it goes. It's working great. But for working from home, and I say but, I should say and for working from home, it's excellent because you have a webcam, you have speakers, you have an integrated microphone on there as well. And if you don't want people speaking out loud on the speaker, you have the ability to plug in a headset on there as well. So you have everything you absolutely need in two pieces because the mini comes with a keyboard and mouse. So you have your PC, you have your large monitor, 24-inch monitor, and you have your, you know, peripherals for working. But if you're like me, you can still add multiple monitors to that, up to an additional 2 at least on there. So you can have triple displays on there, or, you know, dual displays, pretty productive. But you know, it's hard to go from 3 to 2 and 2 to 1 and whatnot. So that right there, in a nutshell, is what we're doing right now with displays and accessories. And I hope that this has been beneficial for you. So, Lisa and John, I shouldn't sound back over to you folks.
We do have one quick question.
Sure.
Do any of the monitors turn into portrait mode?
Turn into what mode? I'm sorry?
Portrait?
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. Our Elite displays and our Z displays, you go from landscape, you just turn it. There's no lock, there's no button. It's just pressure. You give it some good pressure, it'll turn. And they turn both ways. Like I'm driving right now, it turns both ways. Now, the Z displays are cool because when you turn it, it automatically flips the screen. Just does it for you. Like, you know, like on a phone. But if you are on an Elite display, you turn it, then you got to use your little Control-Alt and your arrow key. Kind of like when you do to your coworkers when they leave their computers unlocked. You flip their screen just to mess with them. You do that on the Elite. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, Charles. And John,
Absolutely.
I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging on here. And Charles, I'm looking forward to talking to your boss about your comments about his slide. So thanks. So I think we addressed all the questions here. Certainly, if you have more, continue to bring those forward to us. You can contact any of us on the general contact information you see attached here, as well as by contacting your direct account manager. But, you know, just a couple comments here as we close out. Again, I said in the beginning, and I'll say it again, right now, delivering an exceptional employee experience is becoming a priority for everyone. And right now, that's primarily being delivered by technology. That's why this is so important in these times to really make sure we understand kind of all the possibilities that exist in delivering that experience. I think it's made the endpoint technology and HP, you know, again, very essential right now. And what I've always loved about HP is they are an engineering firm. And I think you see that firsthand about their continued ways to kind of innovate here and take in feedback, you know, from the partner community as well as the customer community. So hopefully you feel that here as well. So again, thank you to the speakers. Thank you for everybody for hanging on here. I know we went a little bit over. A couple pieces of housekeeping here as well. Just we do have this recorded, so we will send this out to you afterwards as well, so you can have this information. Again, the contact information is on here. If by chance you did not get your gift card, your gift certificate for the pizza, please let us know. We'll make sure and address that. I think if you logged on anonymously, we may not have your information, so please reach out to any of the contact information on here. Also want to let you know about PDS Connect. You know, we get asked about this a lot right now about is Connect still going to happen this year? And, you know, we have to be very respectful for everything that's going on and people's safety. That's their number one concern right now. So we are going to have Connect. We are going to do it as a virtual event. So right now, I just ask you to kind of save your date on 10/8 for that. if you are unfamiliar with Connect, this is our annual conference that typically is a 1 to 2 day event that really brings together people for collaborative discussions, inspirational stories, a lot of lessons learned, and it's kind of a must-see event for most people. But mark your calendar for that and look for more information on it, but at least know that we're committed to doing that for you here again this year virtually. And finally, again, just if you have any other questions or any other ideas that you'd like to see for future webinars or educational sessions or collaborative opportunities, we always look forward to hearing from you and welcome that feedback. Stephen, is there anything else that we didn't cover today?
Just a few questions rolled in at the end there, and
Okay.
we'll just have the team follow up by email directly with those folks.
Okay. Very good. With that, we'll sign off. Again, thank you everyone for being a part of our day here today. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.